IDBN Television. My name is Ado Nri. On today's show, we'll be looking at the highlight of the new sign into law, the ISA, Investment and Securities Act 2025, that was signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. According to the law is a landmark bill repealing the Investment and Securities Act of 2007, ushering a new dispensation, and it has been described as a transformative era for the Nigerian capital market. According to key players and stakeholders in the capital market sector who have lauded this new signed Investment and Securities Act 2025, expressing strong confidence that the legislation will significantly deepen market integrity, expand investment opportunity within the nation's financial ecosystem. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) reviewed that this development is a testament to the collective dedication to advancing the capital market and securing its future as a catalyst for economic development, and for the government have shown commitment to fostering transparency, efficiency, and stability in the financial market. Although through this enactment introduced a transformative provision to further align Nigerian market operation with international best practice. Meanwhile, this Investment and Securities Act 2025 introduced a comprehensive reform at modernizing the regulatory framework, enhancing investment protection, as well as creating a more robust platform for economic growth and development in Nigeria. Many analysts, expert economists, financial experts are saying at this point in time, we are now having a knowledge that the capital market is the barometer of Nigerian economy, and that the enabling environment, particularly the legal framework, is the bedrock for the growth of the capital market overall and the economy at large. On the other hand, the act, they say, will deepen market integrity, boost investors' confidence, and expand the range of investment opportunity available to Nigerians and the global investors alike. On the other hand, also, it has also been said that it will strengthen regulatory oversight of the capital market with the overall objective of enhancing investors' protection. I say investors' protection, which is very, very key when it comes to capital market all over the world. It will also rekindle the confidence of market stakeholders, which will, in turn, engender significant growth in the market going forward. However, furthermore, as provided in the act, is that it's bringing about a diversification of opportunities with an expanded scope beyond traditional equities and fixed income. Someone will be asking, what is happening? Right now in Nigeria, the capital market now recognizes cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, unfolding digital products and the need to attract youth, a regulatory framework should be strengthened elsewhere. I said it has now recognized cryptocurrency trading. It's going to be registering people who are participating in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. And one of the key advantages that this new law is bringing, that they want to attract younger Nigerians, youthful Nigerians, particularly those ones who are technologically savvy, ICT savvy, who are trading one or two things on international market, on internet, to now be part and parcel of the capital market in Nigeria. This is what the law is bringing. On the other hand, also, we want to say that it has bring out what the act will effectively address key issues. What I'm trying to point out is this. On this show today, we want to find out if the new act will effectively address key issues such as investors' protection, fraud detection, securities, and systematic risk management on Nigerian capital market. The person who will be helping us to answer some of the questions I'll be raising, the post I'll be pushing out today, is Dr. David Ado Nri. He's the Chief Analyst at HighCap Securities. He will be joining me all the way from the floor of Nigerian capital market in Lagos. He'll be joining me shortly on this particular edition of today. He'll be helping us to answer some of the questions. Even though everybody has applauded the ISA, is the new dawn, is a better law, is it the best framework we can ever see, but there are issues that have been raised concerning the particular act that we're talking about. But good enough for it, Dr. Ado Nri will be helping us to understand the intrigues around this new law, as well as the way forward, talking about the benefit as it stands. He'll be joining me shortly through our virtual experience so that we can understand some of the issues that the law is bringing on board. A very good day to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Adi Folarin. It's a pleasure being on your show for the very first time.
Exactly. And it will be the last time you'll be here as regular, as often as you have the opportunity. So let's get the ball rolling. Doc, you are right there on the Nigerian stock market. I know so many things happening on the stock market today, but let's take a clue from the new act that has been signed into law. What is your impression of this signed ISA 2025 Act?
Yeah, first and foremost, permit me to commend the President for signing the Investment and Securities Bill into an act which we now know as Investments and Securities Act 2024, is a wonderful development because that bill had been laid before the National Assembly for a very long time, and that it has seen the light of the day and concluded by Mr. President. First of all, we need to recognize what he has done and give him credit for that. So having said that, the new act is actually a fine-tuning of the old act of 2007. That old act too was actually very, very robust. So what this one has done is to transit by fine-tuning certain areas and also adding other new areas in the market so as to make the capital market basic law to be attuned with the realities of today. So it's actually an upgrade of existing capital market law and is actually reflecting a lot of the realities that confronts the market today, and also in tandem with global best practices. Thank you, Ado Nri.
All right, I really love your submission, at least making us to understand that this law was the upgrade of the 2007 Act that was existing, and again, it is coming at the right time that it reflects the global best practice. But some people have argued that, I'll put it this way, is this law coming at the right time or a little bit late, going by what the Nigerian capital market has experienced in the past? Or do you see it as coming at the right time or a little bit late? It would have come earlier before, and knowing that it has also spent a lot of time in National Assembly before it was eventually signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Yeah, well, they say it's better late than never.
Exactly.
It has come at a good time. Although one would have been happier if it had come much earlier, so that certain gray areas in the capital market would have been handled or addressed long before now. But it has come. The lesson, therefore, is that the market environment is evolving. It's not waiting for any person. It's changing with time. And so in future, the changes in the market needs to be codified and then reflected into the guiding law of the market from time to time, so that the regulatory framework does not lag behind the legal framework that others the activities of the market. But it has come, and it's a wonderful development. It's a very positive and encouraging development.
Exactly. I'll take that from you, particularly that the DG of SEC, Dr. Egumani, was saying something very, very sincere from his side, saying that this act is a transformative step. What is informing this transformative step that the SEC DG is talking about? And I've heard a lot of you guys also saying it's a transformative step. What is informing this transformative step that we are hearing from you concerning the ISA 2024?
Yeah, I just mentioned that changes occur in the market quite rapidly, and most of the times the practice in the market is usually several steps ahead of the legal and regulatory framework of the market. And when you have such a gap, it could affect a lot of things, dislocate a lot of activities in the market, and make the market not to be very, very conducive in terms of achieving the objectives for which it exists. So now, with the fine-tuning of the old act and the emergence of this new act, so many other areas of the market that were not adequately governed have been brought under regulation. Certain areas like in the commodities space that appeared hazy in the past, they have all been properly codified now, and the laws enacted to regulate activities in those areas, especially in the area of warehousing, warehouse receipts, and so on and so forth. So that in itself has experienced some transformation arising from the new law that has been enacted. There are many other areas that were not reflected in the old act that have now come in, like the digital space.
I'm even coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Yes, exactly.
I'm coming to that. But let's just take it gradually. Let's take it gradually. For instance, I know many of our viewers will be looking at the impact, specific impact of this particular act. Let's take it on the capital market, for instance. What will be your own assessment of the specific impact of this new act on the capital market? Let's take it gradually that way.
Okay, first and foremost, I spoke about the gray areas that were not previously addressed. And one very notorious of the gray areas is the issue of Ponzi schemes, or what we call pyramidal schemes.
Exactly.
Through which a lot of fraudsters had defrauded investors in the capital market. So that particular area was left hazy. It was not addressed in the previous act. Now it has been brought to the fore under this act. The pyramidal scheme, Ponzi scheme, is what locally we call 419 here. And because there was no enabling law, to tackle that menace, a lot of the perpetrators escaped without facing appropriate justice. But in this law, the issues surrounding 419 Ponzi schemes, they have all been addressed and properly clarified and codified. And the penalties that will be visited on the perpetrators are well stated in the law. So it's no longer an issue that if perpetrators are caught and brought to the laws, there will be no enabling legislation to impose stiff sentences on them. So now we have a law that prohibits such malpractices and also stipulates very, very severe, merciless penalties against the perpetrators. So what is now left is for the enforcement of the provisions of the law.
Exactly.
So that is where we are now. So that is an area of the capital market that has been strengthened, wherein the law has been enacted specifically to protect investors in the capital market.
Very interesting. We know from the beginning of the issue where you started, you commended the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for signing this law into motion and making it evidence that Nigeria can have a very transformative legislation or regulatory in the Nigerian capital market. And again, it now brings also the issue of whereby many of your colleagues in the Nigerian stock market or capital market are now saying that the stock market is now the barometer of Nigerian economy. That is one of the key areas that we need to begin to view as the measurement of Nigerian economy, whether it's breathing or whether it's not breathing. Now, this now takes me to the question: what will be the broader impact of this act on capital market, then transforming Nigerian economy growth going forward, from your own perspective?
The capital market is built on certain fundamental basis. First and foremost, there is the trust and integrity upon which the capital market is founded. So this trust and integrity of the capital market builds investors' confidence. And the capital market exists specifically to link up investors who occupy the surplus end in the economy in terms of financial wherewithal,
Exactly.
and then the fund users, being the manufacturers or the producers of goods and services, and also the government that also needs to produce social goods and services. So the capital market exists to intermediate between them and serve as a bridge to enable the funds flow from the investors to the fund users. But for that to happen, the capital market must be safe and be capable of engendering confidence in investors. So investors' confidence is a key issue. So now that we have a more robust enabling regulatory and legal framework as exemplified by what we have in this new act, it therefore means that the act by itself and its implementation will further boost investors' confidence. And if investors' confidence is high and they are prepared to invest in the market, that would also encourage the issuers. The issuers are the fund users. So when the fund users are encouraged and then they come to the market to raise funds, which we as market operators mobilize from them from the investors, that will enable the economy to prosper. Because as the fund users create wealth in the economy, the wealth they create will be shared to citizens in the economy, so that will boost the well-being, of citizens. That will reduce, that will cut down poverty rate in the system, and it will also generate productive employment. As the producers of goods and services are empowered financially, they are then able to expand productive capacity and sustain the productive momentum of their industries. So that will generate productive employment, increase employment. So at the end of the day, a properly established capital market will sustain the productive momentum of the economy, and then make the economy grow, So those are part of the things that this reinvigorated law will do for the capital market. And then coming to the issue of the market serving as barometer for the economy. Yes, of course, because with an enabling regulatory and legal framework, with all the legal institutions also functioning optimally, talking of the regulator like SEC, there are self-regulating organizations, SROs, which are numerous to mention. And they also have the IST, the Investment and Securities Tribunal, to adjudicate in disputes arising from capital market transactions. So when all these things are firing on all cylinders, and enterprises that occupy the commanding heights of the economy are now seeing the fact that they can benefit from being publicly quoted or listed in the stock market or capital market, then by the time in aggregate a lot of these major enterprises that occupy the commanding heights of the economy, and even those that are the fringes, but they are all present in the capital market, then they will be reflecting the various areas of the economy in the market. So when you then take the indicators of the market or the indices, like the all share, the index or the all share index, or we take the market capitalization, you will see that in composition it is reflective of all areas of the economy. So when a market has that capacity, it is therefore able to play the role of the barometer for the economy. So as it is now, the Nigerian capital market is a quasi barometer for the economy. We are not there yet. We are still at our infancy of development. We have not brought in a lot of the enterprises that occupy the commanding heights of the economy. You know, in the petroleum sector, we are still talking about NNPC coming in, which is a behemoth. In various other areas of the economy, we are also still working on all of them coming in. It was a great win for the capital market when President Muhammadu Buhari's government was able to bring in the iconic and major enterprises in the telecom sector. So when those enterprises like MTN, Airtel came, they boosted the capacity of the market to serve as barometer. Before then, other giants like Dangote Cement had come. So you can imagine if Dangote Refinery comes in now, you know, how that capacity of the market to serve as barometer will be expanded.
Exactly.
So as of now, the contribution of the capital market to the GDP of the country is still less than 20%.
Exactly.
So for the market to serve as a barometer for the economy, we should be looking at a market that will be around 50 to 60 to 70% of the economy. So we are working towards it.
Exactly. We are even approaching there gradually with the ISA 2024 Act now bringing about diversification opportunities, particularly expanding the scope beyond traditional equities and fixed income. You know, everybody knows the stock market, the capital market with fixed income, equity market, and the rest of it. But new entries are coming. With these new entries of expansion of opportunities and diversification, what does it portend to the Nigerian capital market going forward? Because although you have agreed, we are not yet there, but opportunities are coming. Diversified opportunities are coming. And how do you see this diversified opportunity coming to the market, you know, soon with this law that we have right now?
Yeah, you know, the truth really is that the Nigerian capital market in the past used to be a monoproduct market.
Exactly.
That was quite popular for equities. But if I take you down memory lane, when the market started in 1961, when we started trading officially, there were 19 securities that were listed in the market. Out of the 19 securities, only 3 were equities. The remaining 16 were debt or fixed income securities. So at inception, the market was actually a debt platform or market. But over time, arising from the indigenization exercises of the 1970s and 80s, we brought in a lot of companies into the market to be listed on the equity side. So equity became quite popular. And you know, that process of indigenization made the capital market investment to be popular amongst the generality of the Nigerian public. So from that point on, the market soared with the listed companies going to 300, 400, and so on and so forth, and debt, you know, declined considerably. But progressively again, you know, debt started coming into the market. But as we speak, before the new ISA was signed into law, really, the market had become a multi-asset assets market, you know, providing a lot of products ranging from equities to fixed income or debt to funds, you know, mutual funds, investment trust funds, you know, and even derivatives. Before now, we already had futures contracts trading on both the Nigerian exchange. Nigerian exchange, you had index futures contracts. I think about 3 index futures contracts already trading, which are derivative products. And on FMDQ, they had the Naira, dollar, currency futures contracts also trading. So in terms of product delivery, we were already a multi-asset market. So, but it's just like adding, crossing the T's, you know, to the market by what has been reflected now in this new act. In the past, like I told you, the act did not elaborate much on the commodities market. But now it dwells elaborately on the commodities market. So in itself, we can say that is a new investment outlet that has been fine-tuned and will become accessible to investors as a result of the work that has been done or reflected in this new act. Then secondly, in a completely new area, which was not reflected at all, is the area of the digital space.
Exactly.
The area of digital assets.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So digital assets, had been trying to make incursion into the country, and the kind of resistance that they have faced so far from the monetary authority that refused to recognize cryptocurrency, and then SEC at the time came up with rules and regulations on cryptocurrency. So that caused a lot of a lot of dislocation on that particular space between the way the capital market was looking at it and the way the monetary authority of central bank was looking at it. The capital market regulator was seeing it as part of securities, digital assets as part of securities that should be traded in the market. Then the monetary authority, the central bank, was seeing it as currency. I'm talking about cryptocurrency now,
exactly.
as currency. And then when you now have a currency that is privately issued and which does not satisfy the fundamental functions of what money or currency should do, which are serving as a reliable medium of exchange, store of value, and the unit of accounting. You get it?
Yes.
So, and again, it does not carry the sovereign authority or pledge of a sovereign authority. It's a currency issued by individuals like you and I. So those were some of the worrisome contradictions that CBN was looking at then to say no, it will not allow that kind of currency to thrive in the country. But in other parts of the world, and even behind the counter here in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians were already using cryptocurrencies as medium of exchange, usually for international trade. When they give naira to the exchanges here, and then they are able to convert to cryptocurrency, and they now use it to pay for goods that they are importing from other countries. So underneath the table, the cryptocurrency had been used. So, but with this law now, because at that time, the regulatory authority in the capital market did not have any legal basis upon which to insist on its own thoughts about cryptocurrency and digital assets. Now there is an enabling law, and so no other authority can prevent the Securities and Exchange Commission for formulating rules and regulations around the use of cryptocurrencies now as the currencies to issue digital assets.
Exactly.
So it's now open to Nigerian investors, because with what the law has done, basically the purpose of the law, of the regulatory framework, is to protect investors. Because the area of the digital space is very, very dangerous and highly risky. So without the protection, a lot of people who had been in there were bearing unusual and enormous amount of risk, over which they were not protected. But now with the law that has been enacted, some form of protection has been built into the law. So Nigerian investors can now go into that dangerous space, understanding that is a dangerous and risky space, or that there is a form of protection for them if they treat that space the way SEC has also looked at it, that it's a space for digital assets. So if you go into that space, you are actually an investor investing in the digital assets that are built on those currencies.
Exactly.
But that you are not a trader in those currencies. Because for you to be a trader in those currencies is beyond the area of regulation of SEC.
Exactly.
It falls into the purview of the monetary authority. And the monetary authority is not in agreement, with the use of cryptocurrency in the Nigerian payment system as of now.
Exactly. I will agree with you to that extent. And so one of your colleagues told me that this ISA 2024 is youth-friendly, with the incorporation of virtual digital assets like cryptocurrency and other, currency that will be accepted digitally. It means that the ISA is a youth-friendly law that will want to bring all Nigerian youth do one or two things on the international space of international ICT and the rest of them into the capital market. Do you see this happening with this law? Because it has been said it's a youthful-friendly law that want to bring Nigerian youth into the coffer or capital market. Do you see it coming this way or happening soon?
The capital market is for everybody.
Exactly.
For youths and adults and so on. So no capital market really is designed to serve any narrow or particular interest. It's to serve the entire investing public. So what we have even had on ground before now had been youth-friendly, but it's just that the number of youths were more attracted to this Bet Naija stuff and all those kind of things, rather than where they did not have, or whether they did or they still do not have protection, so to say. But because that is the area they understand, the capital market can be a little bit complicated.
Exactly. And
you will need to be properly enlightened to know how to play in that field. But those who are saying this law is youth-friendly because it has come up with rules and regulations to protect investors in the digital asset space. Yes, they should be right, because a lot of Nigerian youths are savvy. They do nothing else these days than to be on their handsets, on their telephones, chatting and using the phones for all kinds of things. So on that basis, therefore, it will be easy for them to engage with that space much more readily than with the other traditional instruments. Well, the market, the way it is now, because a lot of people are not aware, the market has moved from the brick and mortar space also to the online digital space, so the virtual channels. Now, on the Nigerian exchange, every investor trading from anywhere in the world has the ability, using a handheld mobile device, to buy and sell for himself. So you now, right there in the studio, while you are running your program, if you have a handset, you can actually follow the market now yourself, to be buying and selling equities or debt or funds or derivatives as we speak now. People are doing it from all over the world. So the figures you see at the close of trading every day on Nigerian exchange is not just what we as stockbrokers are doing on the floor or in our respective offices. There are individual investors. Some of them might even be in Siberia. Some might be in Japan, or in Shanghai, buying and selling our stocks. You get it? So the youths of Nigeria also have the opportunity. I can tell you a lot of youths have leveraged into it. A lot of youths have their own accounts in the capital market now. They are buying and selling for themselves. But the inclusion of digital assets now to it has increased the investment outlets available to all investors in Nigeria. So if you now want to invest in digital assets, you don't need to only be doing that in the American market, because even my own son buys, is very active on he's a student in the university here in Nigeria, but he's very active on the trading on the American capital market, buying all these cryptos and even American securities, Nvidia and all. He's able to enlighten me. I belong to the old school that he enlightens me on daily basis what is happening, how the market is changing in the international space, especially in the US. So those youths too, they have the ability to also buy and sell Dangote cement here, buy and sell our futures contracts. Now they can also start, because when digital assets, when the issuers start listing their digital assets on the digital exchanges that have been created, two have already been licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So those products will become available to enable investors diversify their portfolio of investments. So as it is now, we already have a lot of outlets for diversification. We have the equities market where you can invest. We have the debt market. We have the commodities market, which a lot of people are not even looking at. They don't even understand that space. There are financial instruments and even derivative products, futures contracts that investors can also invest in. Now we are having digital assets coming in. So it will therefore depend on the risk appetite of the investors. I know a lot of young people like taking risks, so that is why a lot of them gravitate towards the riskier space of digital assets and cryptocurrencies. But as people grow elder, the elderly people, they become risk averse, wanting to take less risk, so they gravitate to the traditional products that will give them income and peace of mind. But no matter the risk appetite or the preference of any investor, we now have a multi-asset market that caters for the differentiated needs of all investors in Nigeria.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I mean, your submission have been quite elusive, very, very, in the perspective is deepening and well elaborated, and giving an expository on the ISA 2024 that has just been signed in by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Dr. David Ado Nri, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for being on the show today. Although your first time, and as I earlier said, you will be regular when it comes to capital market and stock market discussion on this show, the Market Report on ETBN television.
Yeah, a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. I've already taken the first step.
Exactly, sir.
So it will be a pleasure to be on your platform from time to time.
Exactly, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and bye.
All right.